This is shocking everyone, as we have a couple of Marlies players who are playing unbelievably and could force their way onto the Maple Leafs some point soon. So I'm going to break that down in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as Sheldon Keefe. He spoke out on John Klingberg, and things are not getting any better. So you're going to stay tuned. But before we get into all this good stuff, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. About 80% of you guys who are watching right now are not subscribed. We're on the road to 5,000. We're almost there. If you could hit the button, scroll down. If you aren't subscribed, make sure to hit it. We are posting 1 to 2 Leafs videos a day, and we continue to pump out content for you guys, and your support has been unbelievable. All right, let's get right into it. We have a lot to discuss today, focused around a couple of key players that could actually have a big impact going forward, and a John Klingberg thing. So let's get into the first topic, and this is shocking. Just coming into the season, a couple of these guys, we expected them to perform well. We expected them to maybe, do some good things in the AHL, but we did not expect them to potentially force their hand onto the Maple Leafs. Now, I'm not going to go out here and say that either of these guys necessarily are super close to the NHL. Specifically, one of them is a bit further away than the other. But it's still shocking and very, very important, and could even be used as a potential trade piece going forward. So let's start. There's two specific guys we're talking about today. One of them is Bellows, and of course, Alex Steeves. Now, Steeves has been unbelievable. If you've been, tuned in with the Maple Leafs, with the Marlies system at all, or just on Leafs Twitter, you will have seen Alex Steeves. He has been absolutely unbelievable. He played a couple games last year for the Leafs, as we all know, but looking at these Marlies stats here, he is off to an unbelievable start. 11 goals in 14 games. This is a guy, if you're a Leafs fan, you have to be excited about. I'm a little bit shocked. I did not expect him. I knew he was going to be, solid. He's coming off a very, very solid season with the Marlies in 2022, but he is doing crazy things, and people are just blushing and gushing about him in, Leafs Nation, Leafs Twitter. Alex Steeves is playing the best hockey of his life. He extended his point streak to 11 games with 3 goals and 5 points this weekend. He is the next man up from the Marlies, and this is the guy who is more important. Everyone's talking about Kiefer Bellows, but he's pretty far away and pretty down in the depth chart, and I'll talk about him in a little bit. But focusing on Steeves, this is the guy that if, let's say an injury happens, even a trade happens, and a spot opens up, Alex Steeves will be the next man up for the Maple Leafs, and this is a guy you have to get excited about. He's shocking me, shocking everybody. Maybe you're a Steeves fan and you're not shocked, but most people around the NHL universe are shocked about this guy's production. He has been unbelievable, and he is a guy that the Maple Leafs are going to be calling up very, very soon if something is to happen. Again, there's an interesting way to think about this here, because you can think about it in two ways. Either A, he's going to be called up very, very soon, meaning that, he's going to make an impact for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. However, there's also a chance that he is used as a trade piece, whether that's in the offseason. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself here, but if he is a potential trade piece, then it becomes even more interesting. Of course, we have the Zadorov trade talks, all this stuff going down, but he is unbelievable. And we had this guy, Nice Guy, saying Steve should definitely help our cause in the Zadorov sweepstakes. And then, either that or he should be on our NHL roster next year. Yep, it's a win-win. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about here. Will he play for the Leafs this season? Most likely, if something happens, he is the next man up. But if he doesn't play this season, he is a lock, most likely, to play next season with the way he is performing, especially if he continues to finish out with no injuries. Hopefully, no injuries, God forbid. And as well, if he continues to just play the way he is, he's going to force the Leafs' hand to have him start next season for the Maple Leafs at some point. And you can see here, he's only 23 years old. He's obviously a center. He's a lefty center. A decent shot. Good offensive guy that can create. He's on an absolute heater right now. He gets in the corners well, gets the pucks, and he's the next man to get up. He's exactly what the Leafs will need if a spot opens up. And if not, again, it's such a win-win. It's so big that the Leafs have this guy. I don't want to trade him. I don't think the Leafs will. But if they do, or if they think that, maybe they sign some veterans this offseason, I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit. But the point is, Alex Steeves, unbelievable to have. He's shocking everybody. And if they don't use him this season, they'll definitely use him next season. And huge shout out to the Marlies for their continued development here. And speaking about that, Kiefer Bellows, we had to quickly touch on him as he scored again last night for the Marlies, extending his point streak to 8 games now, 6 goals, 6 assists. Since signing the pro tryout. And he was picked back in the first round in 2016, and he is trying, play some good defense to get a full contract. He's on a PTO right now. And looking at Kiefer Bellows with the Marlies, he's on a heater as well. 6 goals, 6 assists in 12 games. And this is a guy who, not as exciting per se as Alex Steeves. He's not on as much of a heater, but, he's a guy that is battling for a contract and could potentially make an impact going forward. He's not going to make the Leafs roster, Toronto Maple Leafs roster team this year, I wouldn't suspect. There's just too many guys ahead of him, Steves being one of them. But he's a guy that you love to see these AHL prospects in the Marlies performing this well, because whether you're looking at trade pieces down the line, whether you're looking at potential roster moves if someone gets hurt, having depth is very, very important. And we've seen it. The Leafs are undergoing a lot of injuries right now, and their blue line, neither of these guys are defensemen, but their blue line is a bit beat up. And obviously Benoit was a guy who stepped in and showed the importance of having some sort of depth. And we didn't know how good Benoit was going to be. And obviously he got sent back down on a paper transaction to the Marlies, which we covered in yesterday's video. But it's just a very exciting time if you're a Marlies fan for sure. But I just wanted to touch on this because these two guys are shocking the Marlies world, the hockey universe, if you're a Leafs fan, that is. I really am high on Alex Steves. Keep an eye out for him. I think he is going to either make a very, very good player or a potential trade piece going forward, depending on where the Leafs are going to go with him. Let me know in the comment section, do you want him to be a trade piece? Do you want to see him called up this year to shake things up if things start going down? Or do you want to see him potentially just continue to, rock in the AHL with the Marlies and grind? All right, let me know what your thoughts are on that. Let's quickly move on to our second topic. Now, this one's a bit interesting. At the time of recording, it is Wednesday, November 22nd. We don't have a game until Friday, and Sheldon Keefe speaks out on Klingberg and provides an update. Now, this update isn't huge. I'm going to have a video probably coming tomorrow on there's a bit more information about the Klingberg situation, especially as it pertains to him potentially going on the long-term IR. And if he does go on there, then a lot of things are going to be happening. So this is the Leafs lines of practice today, in case you are curious, and you might notice a couple of things here. Obviously, the normal, Nyes, Matthew Marner, first line, Bertuzzi, Tavares, Nylander's in there, Robertson. And I'm excited about the third and fourth line tomorrow. Reeves continues to be the odd man out, and no John Klingberg. John Klingberg was not at practice today whatsoever, as expected. Last update we had was that he might miss the whole season. And here, Sheldon Keefe speaks out on Klingberg. No update on him other to say that he's just continuing to work through things. We'll have something for you when something's changed. At this point, there's no change in his status, and he will not be playing this week. This is not ideal, and again, it just keeps pointing back to the fact that John Klingberg's situation's wild. I don't want to keep, beating the same thing over and over here and beating a dead horse, but he's not going to be coming back anytime soon, and the Leafs need to make adjustments because of that, and maybe they are waiting for the point where they can put him officially on the LTIR, which will open up cap space for some moves going forward, which is something I'll discuss in a future video. But it's just a bit of a scary situation. This was not a very encouraging thing. He's not really staying positive on the John Klingberg front, and it makes sense because maybe there's nothing to stay positive about. He was signed to a 1-year, $4+ million deal. He hasn't performed at all. Not looking at any semblance of himself like the was in the Dallas Stars a few years ago, but it's an interesting. Klingberg is not there, and then Reeves continues to be the odd man out. And with the way the third and fourth line are working, I would rather McMahon, Kampf, and Gregor compared to Reeves there on that fourth line, so I don't mind that. But in general, there's not a huge Klingberg update. He's not at practice today, which is very notable. It doesn't look like he's making his way back anytime soon, and it just seems inevitable that he is going to be put on the LTIR, which will open up tons of things for the Maple Leafs. And I suspect maybe some moves will be happening soon, but I'll stay tuned, and I'll get you guys covered with the latest Toronto Maple Leafs news. But that'll wrap up the video. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on Klingberg. We'll have another video coming for you tomorrow, and as well, let me know if you think Alex Steves is going to make an impact for the Leafs this season. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.